Thank you, Mr. Ahmed Eweda, for wrapping things up wonderfully. And thank you, panelists, for your comments. That was session 3, Strengthening Capacities for Sustainable Development of Cultural Tourism. And that will be our last session for our 2-day conference. But please do stay because we have more coming up. We have the Kyoto Declaration and more distinguished speakers. Thank you, everybody, and you can leave the stage now. In the meantime, please enjoy our video as we rearrange the stage. Next, we would like to introduce you to the Kyoto Declaration. The Kyoto Declaration has been prepared by the organizing bodies of this conference, the Japanese Experts Committee, UNESCO, and UNWTO. It is based on the discussions and outcomes of the sessions and addresses the topics featured on this stage over the past 2 days within the framework of investing in future generations, the thematic of this year's event. And now I would like to invite to the stage Ms. Marina Diotalevi, head of the Ethics, Culture, and Social Responsibility Department at UNWTO, to give the first reading of the declaration. Ms. Marina?
Kyoto Declaration on Tourism and Culture, Investing in Future Generations. We, the representatives of tourism and culture administrations of the member states of the World Tourism Organization and of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, representative of international organizations, private sector, academy, local and indigenous communities, gathered on the occasion of the 4th UNWTO UNESCO World Conference on Tourism and Culture in Kyoto on 12 and 13 December 2019, under the patronage of Japan Tourism Agency, Agency for Cultural Affairs, Kyoto Prefecture, City of Kyoto, with the attendance of Her Imperial Highness Princess Akiko of Mikasa, reaffirm our commitment to A. Implement innovative policy and government models reflected in cutting-edge cultural tourism projects by 1. Leading initiatives aligned with the SDGs and harnessing innovative technologies to produce measurable impacts among destinations, businesses, and local populations, while ensuring the benefits from tourism are invested back into cultural resources and the improved well-being of communities. 2. Facilitating transnational partnerships and defining shared objectives between the tourism and culture sectors to enhance intercultural dialogue and appreciation of cultural diversity and social cohesion. 3, strengthening measures to safeguard tangible and intangible cultural heritage and promote and protect the diversity of cultural expression and intrinsic values therein. 4, developing policies to mitigate the negative impacts of tourism growth on the use of cultural and national resources, in particular properties inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List, and applying strategic destination management systems that promote the seasonal, regional, and time-based dispersal of visitors in response to growing concerns and pressures related to overtourism. 5, reinforcing ethical principles in the tourism sector through the implementation of the UNWTO Global Code of Ethics for Tourism and adopting related policies, codes of conduct, and governance systems. And 6, promoting the Kyoto model with regards to managing relationship between tourism, culture, and local communities. B, enrich tourism through the transmission of cultures and mutual understanding by 1, sensitizing stakeholders to the added value of culture for a destination and the role of heritage and creativity in enhancing product diversification, socioeconomic development, and sustainable growth. 2, celebrating cultural diversity and intercultural dialogue, in particular through festivals, education, awareness raising, and cultural or spiritual centers. 3, addressing research gaps on how continuing tourism growth, increasing urbanization, and migration are impacting the transmission of cultures. 4, creating community-centered initiatives that gather practitioners and the bearers of traditional knowledge to strengthen systems for transmitting cultures through tourism for future generations. And 5, implementing the UNWTO recommendations on sustainable development of indigenous tourism, expanding partnerships between communities, destinations, and tourism operators, and guiding the responsible behavior of visitors. C, redefine tourism management to advance local community empowerment and responsible tourism by 1, establishing management systems that combine up-to-date knowledge, digital solutions, and inclusive approaches to enhance the visitor experience, as well as respect for communities' needs, adequate interpretation, and fair trade. 2, building measurement systems that create an enabling environment for cultural investment to thrive, while tracking the added value of culture, visitor flows, and the distribution of benefits. 3, strengthening strategic frameworks that are destination-specific with a view to enabling innovation, local entrepreneurship, creativity, craftsmanship, and community empowerment, notably of women and youth. 4, involving the whole destination in urban planning and destination management through the participation of local communities and the private and public sectors, ensuring the opinions of residents are reflected as the bearers of traditions and cultural expressions rooted in their daily lives. And 5, disseminating informative and educational materials that target the tourism sector and visitors and are aimed at respecting local cultural values and properties. D, strengthen capacities geared towards sustainable development of cultural tourism and better understanding of shared values by 1, developing human talent and encouraging talent retention, given its crucial contribution to sustainability, entrepreneurship, skills matching, and overall cultural tourism competitiveness. 2, supporting partnerships between the private and public sectors that employ new technologies in order to build capacity, diversify, and increase the attractiveness and competitiveness of the cultural tourism offer. 3, forging collaboration between tourism destinations, academia, and the private sector to improve education, training, and research on creative industries and heritage, thus creating new jobs and forming culturally informed professionals. 4, investing in human capacities and the sustainable development of less visited areas by providing training on cultural and thematic routes and contributing to intercultural dialogue, international cooperation, and peace. And finally, 5, utilizing cultural facilities such as museums to further engage both visitors and residents in local cultures and traditions. We believe in tourism's great potential to contribute to peace and mutual understanding between peoples of different cultural values, disregarding their race, creed, or social system of their country of origin. We therefore express our sincere gratitude to the national and local Japanese authorities, as well as to the people of Kyoto, for their warm hospitality and excellent arrangements for this conference, making a valuable contribution to the above aspirations. Kyoto, 13th December 2019. Thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you very much for that. That's Ms. Marina Diota-Levy, Head of the Ethics, Culture, and Social Responsibility Department at UNWTO, giving her first reading of the Kyoto Declaration. Next, we will have a ceremony. The stage is set. Now we would like to invite representatives from UNESCO and UNWTO on stage to hand the Kyoto Declaration to Kyoto Prefecture and Kyoto City representatives. And we would also like to invite Mr. Takatoshi Nishiwaki, Governor of Kyoto, and Mr. Daisaku Kadokawa, Mayor of Kyoto City, to the stage. And may we ask the handover to take place? And that's the official adoption of the Kyoto Declaration, with the handing over of the document from UNWTO to the Governor of Kyoto Prefecture and UNESCO to Kyoto City. So we will take a while for a group photo here. And the media, please take photos and please film. Okay, I hope everything's okay with the media, with the photographers. Thank you. I think the photo session is done. Great celebration of the handover of the Kyoto Declaration. Now I would like to ask the representatives to leave the stage. For our host of this year's World Conference on Tourism and Culture, Mr. Takatoshi Nishiwaki, Governor of Kyoto Prefecture, will give his closing remarks. Governor? Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for introduction. I am Prefectural Governor Nishiwaki of Kyoto Prefecture. As a governor of the host prefecture, I would like to give you a few remarks. First of all, for 2 days, earnest discussion has been held. My appreciation goes to UNWTO, the UNESCO, and all the representatives of all the countries. Thank you very much indeed for your participation. And all the speakers in the sub-sessions, including those for 2 days, very enthusiastically you watched and participate in this session. Thank you for audience as well. Thanks to everybody's cooperation, successfully Kyoto Declaration was just announced. As one member of the Executive Committee of Kyoto, I feel very much relieved and I'm very happy. And Kyoto model is included in the declaration. The other day, as I said in the greetings, more than 1,000 years Kyoto had been the capital. This is the sustainable city. Kyoto owns a lot of cultural assets, including architecture, flower arrangement, tea, the way of tea, festival, and performance, and Japanese cuisine. There are many in Kyoto. In order to succeed those to the future, skills or material or the human resources have been the treasure in the city. Actually, in the day-to-day living that has been succeeded to the generation over generation in Kyoto. In that sense, Kyoto culture is indeed residing in the daily lives of the Kyoto people. And that was the threads woven over generation. I do not know whether I have a correct understanding or not, but in this wonderful conference, the Kyoto model was incorporated, and I highly appreciate this. Thank you very much. Kyoto is one of the tourism city, but we have lots of cultural assets. And in 2021, the central government transferred the Agency of Cultural Affairs to Kyoto. So in real terms, nominal terms, Kyoto will be the capital of Japan in terms of culture and tourism. We do not want to feel embarrassed with its name, so therefore, together with Mayor Kadokawa, we will learn together the Kyoto Declaration so that we can implement those intents. And with the declaration, not only in Kyoto, but also in many countries in the world, the safeguarding, protection, the succession of the cultural assets and heritage should be promoted, and also sustainable tourism should be further growth. That is our firm belief that will be the case. Conference will be over now, but excursion tour is planned. That's what I have heard. I hope you will enjoy this opportunity, the Kyoto, in near future. Please make it sure to revisit Kyoto. That is my strong wish and my sincere thanks and respects for your participation for the 2 days discussion. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Nishiwaki Takatoshi様、京都府知事のご挨拶でございました。その次は京都市長、片川大作様の方から挨拶を賜ります。市長お願いします。Thank you very much. Well, UNWTO and the UNESCO representative has offered us the Kyoto Declaration to me and to Mr. Nishiwaki. I'm so impressed with this. The tourism and the culture is succeeding the local specific culture, and I think it has to be a power to stimulate the local economy. SDG, all the social issues must be solved by the power of the tourism and the culture. Well, I myself has felt that the conference is held under such a purpose in Kyoto. Thank you very much for coming to attend this conference from all over the world. And thank you very much for the effort done by the Kyoto local people. Well, the Kyoto model has been proclaimed. We are able to report the Kyoto model and proclaimed, which we have been working so hard for this Kyoto-specific type of the response to the tourism issue. Well, the tourism must be developed for the sake of economy as well, and try to solve the social issues of the social gap, inequality, and environmental degradation, and even to the very difficult issues of the conflict of the world. So the tourism and the culture must be the way to solve those big social issues. So the management of the tourism is a very key, and the government must support that effort. There are several presentations to that effect. The Youth in Kyoto model, well, was mentioned in Kyoto Declaration. And in the end of the Kyoto Declaration, well, I talked about the Free City Declaration of the world. So world people, despite the difference of the race, religion, and culture, got together freely and creating the new culture based on mutual understanding. Well, that is our supreme philosophy as the city of Kyoto, and that spirit has been incorporated into Kyoto Declaration. And also the issues such as over-tourism is still remaining, that's fact. Well, dispersion in terms of the season, the area, and the time-wise, well, that challenge or adjusting that the dispersion in such a way has been incorporated in the declaration as well. And also the code of conduct must be created on the basis of code of ethics has been created underneath such understanding. So the ease of the congestion and the responsible behavior on the part of a visitor, and also the increase of the accommodation facility to accommodate the rising number of the visitors. Well, we actually have 50 specific policies. So the tourism business, government, local community, and the visitor must unite each other to share and strengthen the code of ethics. And we in Kyoto would like to promote the Kyoto model together with a Kyoto citizen and try to show the model to the rest of the cities. And in the near future, in the convention in the future, we'd like to report our progress in such a direction. The possibility of the culture and the tourism offer us a great opportunity. I believe in that. Sometimes the tourism is exerting a negative impact towards the local community or the environment. Yes, there is such a case, but we never allow it to happen. Well, 22 years ago, Kyoto Protocol was born in this hall, in this Kyoto city. So with this Kyoto Declaration, we'd like to achieve SDG. Nobody is left behind. The economic growth and environmental issue can be solved all together at once. So I think Kyoto, together with the cultural agency and the government, would like to promote a new effort. And thank you very much for your kind endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Mr. Daisaku Kadokawa, Mayor of Kyoto. Now I would like to invite from UNESCO, Mr. Shinshu, to give his remarks on his capacity as UNESCO's Deputy Director General. Mr. Shinshu.
Mr. Executive Director of UNWTO, Mr. Governor, Mr. Mayor, Excellencies, Ministers, ladies and gentlemen. As we conclude this fourth UNWTO UNESCO World Conference on Tourism and Culture, I am happy to share briefly my reflections on last 2 days' discussions. This conference provided an important and timely opportunity for us all to reflect how we must work together towards achieving the harmony between culture, tourism, and community, as eloquently expressed by our host, the Mayor of Kyoto. In doing so, we could never lose sight of who we are. If we start compressing our culture and community for the sake of the tourism, we risk losing our very identities. So, therefore, it is in our own interest to focus on delivering tourism experiences that are authentic, educational, and responsible, and reflect local values. When managed effectively, the tourism growth can improve the quality of life to its residents, creating jobs, generating inclusive wealth, and supporting investment in public infrastructure. Let us continue to work together to uphold the values of declarations we adopted here in Kyoto and also in Siem Reap, in Muscat, and in Istanbul. So all these declarations are to enhance the tourism's role as a vehicle for intercultural dialogue, sustainable development, and peace. Let me thank once again our gracious hosts for their generosity and hospitality. I also thank all the ministers, delegates, speakers to join us here in Kyoto, and for your commitment to supporting culture and tourism working together for a better future. And of course, last but not least, a very big thank you to UNWTO, our long-standing partner, for the wonderful, outstanding collaboration in organizing this conference. So I thank you all for your attention. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you. That was Mr. Xin Shu, UNESCO's Deputy Director General. And we would finally like to invite Mr. Manuel Butler, Executive Director of the World Tourism Organization, for his final message of the session.
Mr. Deputy General of UNESCO, Mr. Mayor of City Kyoto, Mr. Governor, honorable ministers, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As we come close to this conference, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to our generous Japanese host for their warm hospitality and excellent organization. On behalf of the UNWTO, I would like to express our gratitude to all local partners, sponsors, and to the people of Kyoto for helping to make this event a huge success. And of course, I also wish to thank our good friends and close partners from UNESCO to join in forces with us once again. It has been inspiring to to listen to different views concerning cultural tourism and the management of our sector. We have heard an array of presentations celebrating cultural diversity. Of particular importance were those featuring tradition of local communities and indigenous peoples. This experience, as well as the UNWTO recommendations that we launched here, represent our contribution to the 2019 International Year of Indigenous Languages proclaimed by the United Nations. It was encouraging to learn that policymakers and destinations are designing instruments to assess the real effect of the so-called over-tourism and compare the presumption for the facts and figures. UNWTO has been taking this phenomenon very seriously, and we have already produced research that provides a more in-depth and better understanding of the situation. But without any doubt, tourist flows are still destined to grow. We therefore need to involve all stakeholders in cultural tourism development so we can plan it and manage it better. Great steps have been made, but we know there is still much work to be done. Ladies and gentlemen, our sector should champion initiatives that produce measurable impacts among destinations, businesses, and local populations. For us to guarantee that our cultural assets are enjoyed for generations to come, investment is needed, especially in less visited areas and international routes. Training and education bring more opportunities for local communities, and facilitating entrepreneurship will make cultural tourism ventures more innovative, not only locally, but also globally. With every step forward, every positive impact we achieve, we will be able to increase tourism contribution to the United Nations 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly in the field of dialogue, cooperation, and peace. Dear friends, I hope you will take the knowledge and new perspective that these 2 days in Japan have granted us, be inspired to spread this valuable information amongst your networks with renewed vigor and purpose. It's only by working together that we can achieve our objective of developing a tourism that is universally responsible, a tourism that makes cultures around the world accessible to all, but at the same time ensures this access is both sustainable and brings benefit to the local communities. A tourism that is truly inclusive, that at the same time showcases and safeguards this world-rich tapestry of cultures for our children in years to come. We count on your strong collaboration in this endeavor. As we bid farewell to Kyoto, I wish you a very success for the future. Thank you very much. Arigato gozaimasu.
Thank you. That was Mr. Manuel Butler, Executive Director of the World Tourism Organization. Well, before we close, we'd like to thank the Japan Tourism Agency, the Agency for Cultural Affairs of the Government of Japan, Kyoto Prefecture, and Kyoto City for hosting this event. And we'd like to thank also the distinguished moderators, panelists, UNWTO, UNESCO, the interpreters, technicians, our local team, and of course, our audience here for making the 4th World Conference on Tourism and Culture, Investing in Future Generations, possible. And with this, I officially close the conference. Thank you so much for spending time with us for the last 2 days. Thank you. But I do have one announcement to make. I believe that there are those who have signed up for a technical visit. I think you have been advised on where to go, but there will be volunteers outside to guide you to your buses, so please look for volunteers and ask where to go. Thank you. And enjoy.